Alrighty, Wednesday, April 10th. Let's jump into a session recap here. Post-CPI. This was the main event of the week that we were really looking to see this week. And we come into the session. Well, rather, we come into the day with a near-term range in play. Right, near-term range just oscillating here following last Thursday's sell-off. You have Friday's retracement move, and then you just have Monday, tighter inside day. It's a volatility compression day. Tuesday, you get a little bit of activity there, a little bit of a washout of that near-term range to test that support zone, right? And then we're right back into that near-term area of resistance. So coming into the session, what I had mentioned during the pre-market prep live stream is we wanted to be treating this 5270 as the primary pivot for today's sesh. You have a near-term resistance zone right through there, right? Sellers have done a good job at defending this zone. Each test of this zone gets sold off, and the CPI, a little bit of a hot print, was no different. No different, right? And so what we see is price essentially reject that near-term resistance zone and trade down into our 51.85 level of interest, but more notably last week's low. So a significant area right through here. Let me actually put a line right there so we could take a look at it. Then what you can see is once the session actually opens, it looks a little bit slow, doesn't it? It's just a rotational, tighter range type of day. Well, not really tight, quite a wide range actually, but a range session, right? Much wider than what we saw on Monday, but nonetheless, still a range, no direction. So these days can be incredibly lucrative if you are trading them correctly. We come into the session wanting to see how that 51.92 area is going to be treated, right? Like I had said, that was the low from last week. If we take a look at this chart again, you see the low right through there last week. So this white dashed line through that low, and we could see how well price respected that low. Right, 51.92 down into 51.85, our downside level of interest holding as support all day. So you have price trading into a massive area of daily time frame support. It's all support zone right through here. You can see the prior high from mid-February and then all support. You also have the 50 MA right through there as well. So there's a saying, don't short in the hole. Don't short support. It's what we like to say. So if you come into a session like today bearish, and looking for shorts, what you really need to see is that price trades higher and tests an area of resistance before you get short, or actually breaks that key area of support, flushes below, and then maybe offers you a retest as an entry. Don't want to come into a session like today overly bearish. At least I don't, simply because, again, we have the higher time frames there into a key support zone. All right, so make sure you're always double checking and looking at the context of those higher time frame charts, even if your average hold time is super low, even if your average hold time is 2 minutes. By aligning yourself with the higher time frame setup, the higher time frame charts, you're going to have a much higher hit rate. You're going to find much easier trades, and that's what we're after as traders. We want the easy money. We want to pick up that easy money just sitting over there in the corner. We don't want to be fighting some type of move or anything like that. So we just look for that easy layup setup, and that comes with higher time frame alignment. So overall, pretty solid action today for the active trader. No real direction, right? Just sideways, a very wide range. We're talking about, what was the total range here on the active session? 41 points. So you have a 1 ATR range here. ATR is actually 60, a little less than a 1 ATR range here for the regular trading hour session. But look how many times price actually puts in that move, right? Quite a bit here. And NQ even better. So as far as tomorrow, what we really want to see is essentially how price trades versus this 5192, 5185 downside level of interest, still treating this as an area of support. The main issue right now is that we do have a chart, like I've said before, we have a setup that is an intermediate term range. So multi-month, multi-week range here just means trading sideways, right? No direction here over the past few weeks, but in the near term, this is definitely a downtrend. Look at the series of lower highs, right? There's your high, there's your high, there's your high. We have that key resistance all through here. And then all of your support down through here. Okay, so what we want to see tomorrow into PPI, more economic data, and then more Fed speak tomorrow is essentially how is price going to treat this pivot? Are buyers going to continue to step in and absorb this selling pressure, or is this consolidation, more distribution for another leg lower? That's what we're looking to determine. Much like this morning, I was saying, we just want to see the reaction versus the pivot and then trade accordingly. That's what we'll be looking at for tomorrow's session as well. Again, is assuming that, price opens relatively close to this key area. If not, then we'll update the game plan tomorrow morning as we always do. But that's ES. Pretty much want to see how price respects that 5185, 5192 zone and take it from there. Key support zone. Alrighty, so let's look at NQ as well. Now NQ, same type of story. Look at the near-term resistance right through here. You got the blip higher. That was ahead of the print. Got someone front ran it, and then you have stops being run and chasers piling in there trying to front run the print just to get absolutely steamrolled. That's why we don't gamble through these reports, right? And so price trades lower down into that Thursday low yet again, Thursday, Friday low, last week's low. Now in this case, it actually did not break. I was actually hoping for a little bit of a break below, grab that liquidity below and then recover. We did not see that. So if you're waiting for the undercut trade, that did not materialize. We still had some phenomenal setups for today. I actually did like the NQ setup a lot better than ES today, simply because flip to the 4 hour. Oops, that's Apple. Flip to the 4 hour, and what do we have? Major daily time frame support all through here, and it's clear cut. It's a much better, more clear setup than what we see in ES, right? Look at the daily. We were talking about this morning. Very, very well-defined level of support, right? So when you have price testing the edges of the range, always when price is trading within a range, your best opportunities are going to be near the edges of the range, because quickly where you're wrong and you have the potential to catch some much larger moves, right? So we like the involvement near those big higher time frame pivots, which is why today's action was so solid. So NQ trading down post CPI into that daily support zone, defends it, right? No break of last week's low. Okay, similar type of action to ES, of course. Trades higher, and then you just see price settle into this wide range. I'm going to be breaking this down in the trading mentorship group session later today, but this is just a range day, rotational day. Again, they can be really strong if you know what you're looking for and if you come into the session with the right type of expectations, right? So essentially we just look at that support zone for long opportunities or vice versa if you're wanting to short. But much like I said on ES, this is a key area of support. Why would I want to be shorting into a known area of support? You're going to be shorting up near the resistance zone, not into support. So as far as tomorrow, we're going to be keeping a very similar type of approach. I want to see how this 18, 150, 145 area holds. Today's low is going to be significant. Pretty much just like this. Let me get it back into the 15-minute here. Right through here. So this low right through here. Today's low, Thursday's low, that's a significant area of support, and we just want to see, is price going to continue to defend this area, or is today's range redistribution before next leg lower? I have no crystal ball. And so I just react to what price shows me. And that is going to be the approach for tomorrow. We do have PPI tomorrow and then some heavy Fed speak activity as well. So we'll see how that shakes out. Here's a look at your 4-hour chart currently. One thing to note is that, NQ is also in that downtrend here in the near term. So you have a near-term downtrend, intermediate term range within a longer-term uptrend, right? So we do not have time frame alignment right now. It's one of the things I was talking about this morning. Can make for some trickier conditions. Means you need to stay more nimble. It means you need to be more focused on where you're getting involved. When we have time frame alignment, let's say everything is looking bullish, you can, not that you should, but you can get away with sloppier trading in those environments. And so, if you're a developing trader, these environments tend to be a little stickier, a little more challenging, and that's not really a surprise. It's because of the nature of the current setup. So if you do find, the past couple of weeks to have been challenging, then it's an opportunity for you to really refine your game. All right. So that's the main watch. ESNQ, essentially today's low, going to be the primary focus. We'll see how that looks in the morning with the overnight trading, pre-market trading into PPI. No individual names on watch as of right now. Hope everyone had a good session. If you have any questions, feel free to shoot me a DM. Otherwise, I'll see you tomorrow morning for the pre-market prep. Later.